சார்
ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணலாமா இல்ல
ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணலாம் சார். வெயிட்டிங் பண்ணி
Good morning to one and all present here. I call upon Dr. R. Mani sir, Professor Mechanical Engineering, KSR Institute for Engineering Technology, Tiruchengood, Tamil Nadu, to introduce Dr. N. Mani, Professor Mechanical Engineering, Sri Sai Ram Engineering College, Chennai. I welcome you, sir.
Good morning, everyone present for the today's session, 13th session. I welcome Dr. N. Mani, Professor Mechanical Engineering, Sri Sai Ram Engineering College, Chennai. He did B degree in 1997 at University of Madras in Production Engineering, and also he did ME degree University of Madras, ME in CAD, and also completed doctoral program in 2011 Anna University in the topic of fracture mechanics, and also he was vast experience and presently working professor in the Sai Ram Engineering College from 2012 to till date. And also he completed the sponsored project, the title of Tricycle for Physically Challenged Using Artificial Intelligence, sponsored by Tamil Nadu State Council for Science and Technology, TNSCST 2019, and also coordinator for KMKVY, sponsored by IICT for the course CNC Operator, CNC Vertical Machining Center in the academic year 2018 and 18 to 19, and also who filed the patent in the name of Natural Fiber Particle Reinforced Composites, co-inventor, in the year of 3/1/2020. Only submitted the application and other things. And also he was published many papers like 11 in national international level, and also research guidance under the guidance of 5 research scholars is researched, and also completed for the synopsis stage 1, and also act as science supervisor for 2 scholar, and also he act as reviewer in Journal of Nuclear Engineering and Technology, Elsevier, reviewer in International Journal of Mechanical Engineering, and also reviewer in Material Today Proceedings, and also he act as a resource person in various AICT sponsored SCTP and 5 days online FTP program, act as a resource person in ISC sponsored faculty development training program, act as resource person in ISC sponsored short term training program SCTP, and also to deliver the lecture Introduction to Springs and Design Process of Springs on 9/5/2011 and Anna University, and also a chairperson of our international conference on mechanical, material and manufacturing system in 2019, presented lecture on finite analysis in Loyola Institute of Technology, Chennai, session chair for international conference of Department of Mechanical Engineering in 2019 and 20 at Sai Ram Institute of Technology, Chennai, and Suri for national level student technical symposium organized by VRS College of Engineering and Technology, Viluppuram. So, and also delivered guest lecture for various colleges like College of Engineering, Kindi, Anna University since 2013, and also number of events conducted like coordinator for AICT, convener for online webinar, coordinator for one-day training program, organized motivation session, coordinator for installation function for Rotaract Club, coordinator for 2 days training program on management of quality circles, coordinator for faculty development program CAD, coordinator for industry institute interaction event on environment management, and also organized secretary for national conference on Advances in Mechanical Engineering in Sri Sai Ram Engineering College in 2013, and also act as a co-convener back in 2009, a national level conference on Mechanical Engineering Department, Satyabama University, and also national and international level presented number of papers and journals up to the so far up to number of papers published, and also he was getting medal and awards. Received Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Award for teaching excellence in 2019. Received Best Teacher Award from Delhi Delphi TVS Orakadam for the academic year 2017 to 18. Professor Sinnadurai Award for Discipline and Study in Satyabama Engineering College 2001. Received medal for University of Madras, 6th rank and first rank in Satyabama Engineering College in ME CAD. Received Best Paper Award in International Conference and Exhibition on Emerging Talents in Design and Manufacturing Technology 2007 Satyabama University, and also conducted number of courses and other things, and also attended NPTEL courses, get its secured elite grade with 85% of score, and also faculty staff development training program workshop attended many STTP faculty development program and other things organized and also attended. And finally, he was a member of in the professional bodies like member of Institute for Engineering Research and Publication and member in International Association of Engineers. So once again, I warm welcome Dr. N. Mani, Professor Mechanical Engineering, Sri Sai Ram Engineering College, Chennai, to deliver the today's session, that is session 13, 3D printing design process and file format. Now it's to hand over the session, Dr. N. Mani sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your elaborate introduction of
yes, sir. Thank you,
myself.
sir.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
And good morning to participants. Good morning, all. This is Dr. Mani from Sri Sai Ram Engineering College, working as a professor in Mechanical Engineering Department. So already Professor Mani given elaborated about myself, and you have come across different things from 3D printing. Last few days, because already 4 days got over, and you have come across number of and I think you have learned a lot of new things about 3D printing. A number of professors, eminent professors, they have delivered a lecture on different topics. And today I am going to present what are the process we have to make 3D printing and a few file formats. Because for making 3D printing, we need some process, right? Same like what we do in mechanical engineering, a different testing process. Same way to make some 3D model, we need some process. Right? So those processes I'm going to explain today with some few videos, 1 or 2 minute videos for each testing process. Those videos are taken from YouTube. So thanks to YouTube first of all, and thanks to management of KSR Institute of Technology and Professor Mani sir for given this opportunity. So I'll move to presentation now. If you have any doubts, you can put in chat box below. So at the end of the session, I'll answer queries. I think my slide is visible to you. Can anyone?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. And today I'm going to deliver 3D printing design process and what are the different processes we have to make 3D design printing, right? So normally we have different stages to make 3D models, and initially we have to make model, that's digital model. Then we have to convert it into codes, that is a file format, and finally the code will be converted into some product. So these are different stages we have. So initial model we can make using number of softwares, and then those data will be stored and converted into some file format. So that portion also I'm going to cover today. And the final part, so whatever model we made in digital, right, by using some CAD softwares, so that will be produced by using different design process. And this introduction already you are aware of because already you have a number of sessions. And this is the process of making a physical object from 3D digital model, right? That is the ultimate of 3D printing. So from a 3D digital model, whatever model we made or we are going to make by using some softwares, like any model you can make. So those models we have to bring into some physical form. So there we are utilizing this 3D printing process, right? So this will be almost, it's not like economical, but compared with the remaining process, it is a bit economical. And nowadays, number of places they are using this 3D printing process to make prototype models. And this we used to make by laying layer by layer of materials. Because for all the process, it deals about the same process. If you take a number of processes we have in 3D printing, so all the process talking about or deals with, so that layer will be laid only layer by layer, so small amount of thickness. Then only will get final part or final product. Or you can say as it brings a digital object into your physical form by adding layer by layer of materials. That is the 3D printing process. Right? And this is used to generate a 3D object. These are the different definitions of 3D printing or 3D printing process. What we or how to define 3D printing process. So these details already you are aware of. So you can just I'm refreshing those details. So these 3D objects in which layers of materials are successfully formed under a computer controlled program. That's what I said. So whatever layers we are laying, right? Whatever product, because those products are made up of number of layers. It's not like composites. So composites are different. So here those materials are layer by layer by layer. So those instructions are controlled by some computer controlled program, right? And the 3D file source is usually sliced into several layers, and each layer generating a set of computer controlled instructions. So each and every layer that will be controlled by some controlled instructions. So those details are there in the file format. So normally what we do is we used to write the code. So based on the code that will be nowadays there some codes, some process they are linking with Python, right? So those codes, what we do in the final element analysis, some analysis software, what they do that is behind the screen, they do some coding, right? So whatever on the screen, if you make a line by giving coordinates, it make a line. So same thing here also. So those program we have to write and we have to give and we have to feed to the computer. So those details will be delivered in the form of product at the final stage. And these are possible issues while making the process, right? If you make any process, even normal mechanical engineering workshop, right? We face a few problems, right? So same way here also we have some issues. And normally to make the product, if it is completely closed product, you will not get much problem. If it is in the form of slanting or with some angle, then we have to give some support to the part. So those times that overhangs are support structures at the end of the model. Right after making the entire model, we have to remove those support structures. So there we may face some problem, or to make the support. So there also will get some problems. Then in which direction the print is going, because we have all the three directions X, Y, and Z, and normally this process will take only XY directions because layer that the pointer, whatever the nozzle, it delivers the ink or whatever it is, that will move only XY direction. So each and every layer will move XY direction. Finally, we'll get depth, right? So which direction that has to move, that we have to give clear instructions. So that also one of the possible issues here. And if it is a hollow object, what we have to do? So we have to fill with some support materials. We cannot do just like that. So initially we have to, based on the product, what type of product we are going to make. And if it is some curved objects, you take some cube. So one side you may have some curve, some metals are removed. So how to make those kind of parts in the 3D printing process, right? So there we have to make some support materials for the same dimensions, the same curve for the same radius. We have to keep some materials go there. So then only the entire process will come out properly. Otherwise, there also will get some problems. And materials, only limited materials we have to make. So only the limited materials it's available to make 3D printing objects. So not all the materials we cannot use. So that also one possible issue. So what kind of material we can use for what kind of applications, right? And because of limited materials, we have to get thorough knowledge what kind of product, what kind of materials we have to use for different products, and layer resolutions. So each and every layer, how we have to make, right? That also, and price, that plays a major role here. So how much price we have to spend, how much amount we have to spend for making a 3D product. So before that, we have to do all the studies. We have to do analysis. If it is necessary, if it is, there is no other way, then we have to go for this kind of product, because it's not, it's at present it's available, but it's not available to all the people, right? That is the problem. So automatically the economic wise, it's the amount wise, it's a bit huge. And safety and the ease of operations. So how to, what are the different processes and how to make the operation easier, and need for post processing. So after making the product, what are the things we have to do? Because after making the product, we have to clean the surface. Right, there also will get what type of cleaning we have to do. That is the post processing. So if the process gets over, we cannot use the product as it is. We have to do post processing. That means we have to clean the product if there is any burr or anything, because a few products that will be attached with the supports, right? So there we have to make a proper cleaning process. So otherwise, that also one of the problems. So these are the possible issues we are facing, right? So this will be easily overcome by using proper process, proper standards, and if you use proper standards in all the places, then these issues will be rectified to a certain extent. And these are the materials used to print 3D objects. So these are the almost all the materials are given. So apart from this, only few materials are available to make 3D objects. So ABS plastic, PLA polylactic acid, polycarbonate, polyamide, and stereolithography material, that is epoxy resins, silver, titanium, steel, wax, photopolymers. Because nowadays we are using metal, right? So metal 3D printing also we are using. So there, that places we are using this steel or titanium or silver. Because before that we have used maximum as plastic or related materials like ABS, PLA, nylon, those kind of metals. So nowadays there we are using even material 3D printing. So that's why I given almost all the materials here. And these are the 3D printing challenges. It's same like what are the issues we are facing during making the process, right? So again, these are the challenges. So equipment cost, limited materials are available, and post-processing requirements, and manufacturing cost, right? Because to make one single product, if it is number of products, okay. If you, because normally 3D printing we used to make only a single product, right? Because we need some prototype model, we used to make some single product. So for that we have to go for the entire new setup, right? So that time the manufacturing cost will be increased, and lack of in-house additive manufacturing resources, that also one of the challenges. And these are the different 3D printing steps we have, right? As I said earlier, we have to make a 3D model, a digital model, by using some CAD software, and those models will be converted into some file format. Here I given STL format. Here we have number of file formats to store the model, and then we have to do analysis of those stored STL models. And if there is any problem, we have to repair it. And we have to, based on that, we have to set up the device. Then we have to do printing. Then removal of prints. We have to remove the print or object from the setup, and finally post processing. So this we'll see elaborately. And initially we have to make a 3D model, right? Digital model in the system by using softwares like SolidWorks or Autodesk or CATIA, whatever it is. So whichever is user friendly to the corresponding 3D printing system. or because all the softwares are not properly helping to store in the given proper file format. So that also we have to check. Because if the software is ready to or acceptable to store the models in the corresponding file format, because the file format whatever we are using that will be acceptable by both the system as well as 3D printing process equipment. Right? So those kind of file format only we have to select, we have to choose. And sometimes reverse engineering also can be used to generate a digital model. Reverse engineering means we, you know, right, from the models we can make the dimensions, and from the dimensions we can make a new model. And then those CAD model whatever we developed by using different softwares, that will be converted into some file format. Right here I given STL, that is stereolithography process, and that is acceptable by additive manufacturing machines or whatever 3D printing machines we are going to use. So what are those formats supposed to acceptable by those machines, then only the process will be proper, right? Otherwise it will be a problem. It's also possible to select a STL model from online repositories. So the number of repositories we have online, that sometimes number of repositories are free, it's available online, and a few things are charged. Already these things here, a number of processes they explained clearly, right? So what are the repositories available and online, and how we can use those repositories. Now those details are sources, so we can take anything, any model or coding from those repositories, right? So these are the few Pinchip, GraphCAD, those things. And after model in STL format, model in STL format means after converting the 3D model into STL format, we have to do model analysis. So model analysis and requirements, if there is any discontinuities, right? It's required to repair the errors, whatever errors we facing in STL format. Or making model, you will not find much problem, right? Because SolidWorks or modeling softwares that will give a proper model. So there you will not get any problem. When doing analysis or when you are changing to some file format, there only you will face some problems. So normally those errors will be in the form of missing triangles, because if you have some curved edges or smooth curved surfaces, there you will get some missing triangles or some non-connected edges. If it has a number of connectivity based model, then we have those kind of, or some inverted normals where the wrong side of your triangle face it is identified as the interior of the part, right? So here the missing triangles and mainly non-connectivity. So some places when we do analysis, so there will face, or when we do meshing, there will face this kind of problems. And here some few softwares are available to repair this, right? Like MeshLab, 3D Print Cloud, and InFAM. These are softwares. And once this STL format is generated, it is imported into the next stage, that is the slicer program, which converts it into the G code. Because finally the system, whatever that additive manufacturing machines, those 3D printing machines, that will accept in the form of G codes. So G codes and codes already you have come across during CNC machines, right? So G codes is a normal NC programming language, which is used in CNC machines, right? And then after this process, right, after repairing process, we have to set up the device, because that means we have to connect the data, whatever model we made and whatever data we stored, that we have to connect it with the setup device, that is AM machines, right? So this process requires proper printer setup and control, and cleaning from previous build and the loading print. So each and every step we have to take care. So before starting the present process, we have to clean properly, because earlier printer, the previous printing, if you made by using those machines, there will be some support will be available or not proper plant cleaning. So those problems will be there. So we have to clean properly, and we have to load the print material for the present work. And we have to do routine check of all critical build settings and process controls. It's also necessary. When the hardware is ready, that is the machine is ready, build file will be uploaded to the machine. So that means we have to connect When the machine is ready for the process, then we can connect to the system. That is, system means the STL format or digital model. Then after connecting, we can start the printing process. So this depending on the size of the thing. So whatever layer or whatever material, a machine or material employed, the process may take several hours or even days to make printing. That depends on. If it's small product or small things, it takes a few hours. If it is a huge product we cannot make. But even if a complicated product, it takes a few days even. And after making the product, we have to remove the print from the print bed. That is from the machine, we have to remove the product. And because sometimes those product will be attached with the print bed. So where we started making the process, right? So that removal process also will be issues. So we have to remove the product, whatever is made properly. And then we have post processing. Post processing means it very greatly depending on the printing technology and materials used. And post processing, after making the product, if the product is over, we have to clean by high pressure air or polishing, or then we can give coloring for that and other actions. Whatever possible actions we can do after the printing gets over and the product is removed from the machines. And here, for example, a print made with the stereolithography, that is SLA, must be cured under UV ultraviolet. A print made with the FDM can be handled right away. So these are the different post processing process, how we can remove the process, or what are the things we have to do at the end, right? And these are the different 3D printing process we have. So diffuse deposition modeling, stereolithography, and selective laser sintering, DLP 3D printing, photopolymer phase changing inkjets, a direct metal laser sintering process, and plaster-based 3D printing, powder pack, bed, and inkjet head 3D printing, thermal phase changing inkjets, laminate object manufacturing. So here, a number of processes are normal 3D printing process, and few things are like selective laser sintering or direct metal laser. So these things are used lasers to harden the liquid, right? This place we are using lasers to make the product. And it starts from fused deposition modeling. This is works on additive manufacturing principle, laying of the material layer by layer. And here we have the picture. We have support material, build material, and those are available in the extrusion head in the top, right? So through that extrusion head, the material will be passed to the base where we are going to make the part. And the filament fed through hot extruder. If you look at the picture, you get the hot extruder, right? The extruder where we have both build material and support material. The filament fed through that material, that extruder, and deposited layer by layer on the bed, or you can say foam face or build platform. So there we are laying and deposited layer by layer. And here the materials are used thermoplastic materials. Normally in the FDM process we are using thermoplastic materials. But these metals can be mixed with other elements like wood, metal, or fiber. And extruding through nozzles, the metals will be deposited on the foam, and that will be laid layer by layer, right? So the extruded plastic then hardens immediately as it bonds to the layer below it. After the process gets away, it automatically hardens. And repeating this process builds the object one layer at a time. Almost for all the process, we have to make only one layer at a time that will move along X and Y direction. And I'll show a small video at the end of this FDM. And this is the materials we are using for FDM process. Acrylic, nitrile, butadiene, styrene, because we have to check the characteristics, how it will be, and what are the applications, which application we are using this product. That also we have to take care. We have to check, right? So this will provide some good strength and good temperature resistance and more susceptible to warping. And polylactic acid extend visual quality and easy to print with the low impact strength. Because wherever quality is visual quality is required, we can use this excellent visual quality. And nylon gives high strength, and polyethylene glycol gives again good strength and easy to print. Thermoplastic polyurethane very flexible and difficult to print accurately. That accurate printing is not possible by using this tube. And polyethermide, excellent fire and chemical resistance and high cost. And here we have a small flask we made. Actually, my students along with myself, we made a small flask by using this polylactic acid, right? That because we, apart from this, we have selected because excellent visual quality and easy to print with low back strength. So that material we are selected to make this flask. And initially we made a CAD model and converted to STL format. And then we made the machine process the STL file by creating a sliced layer of the model. So how many sliced layers we need? And the first layer of the physical model is created. Then the process continues till the entire product is made. And finally the model and supports are removed. The surface of the model is definition cleared. And why we are use 3D printing to make those model is there's a high degree of design freedom. So whatever we think we can make by using this 3D printing, that is the design freedom. So whatever we think, so that we can make easily. And small batch size of reasonable unit cost. That also we use this FDM process and high degree of product customization. And this is the printer we have used to make those flasks. And this details are given on the right hand side, machine size and dimensions in inches, and filament size. Because I already said that we have the support material and main material, right? So support material, especially if there is any hollow section, there we can have, or sometimes it will add along with the main material to make the product easy. And here we use filament size is 1.75 millimeter accuracy, and production speed is 0.42 centimeters cube per minute, and weight of the machine 32 kg, and minimum layer thickness 0.05 millimeter. That is the layer thickness. And the heat printed bed S, and input file format we have used STL, stable lithography, and that then converted to G code. That's what I said earlier. We have to convert. Initially, we have to make the digital model by using any software. This 3D printing, 3D software like CATIA or SolidWorks or Fusion 360, and then we have to store in the form of STL, right? Then those details we have to convert into G code. Then only we have to send those details or those codes to the machine. Then only it will accept. And these are the plastic filament used for our process, because for FDM, the metal will be in the form of plastic filament. And this is the thing we made after the process gets over. So this is the thing we made. This is nested workload storage flask. So this is made by layer by layer based on the given model. And during 3D printing, it will be actually automatically visualized on the screen. So how it is making, so what layer and how much time it is taking. So all the data will be displayed on the screen while we make the 3D printing of that particular flask. Right, so which direction the printer head is moving, and how much materials it's going on the printer head, and how it is going layer by layer. So all the details we can take on the screen. It's attached to the machines. So this is the printer class we made by using this FDM process. And these are the few problems we faced in 3D printing. And we said a small disconnect. Maybe we are facing the printing won't be proper and without edges outside. Because sometimes there will be small things over there. Because these are the problems we have faced. Because there maybe this is sometimes the voltage will be little low. That time automatically it slows down the process. So that is the main reason we found from the entire analysis. So when the voltage down, it slows the process. That time the speed automatically, the layer speed automatically decreased. And that is the problem we face this kind of issues. And stereolithography process. And this is the common RPD process, right? For producing parts with higher accuracy and good surface finish. So if you want the high accuracy and good surface finish, they can go with this SLA process, that is stereolithography process. And here the high powder laser used to harden the liquid resin. Here, as I said, the laser is used. In the bottom, we have the picture of the process of the entire stereolithography. And bottom, we have tank. The tank filled with the liquid photopolymer. And this liquid water filled in the tank, usually clear and liquid plastic. And this movable build platform is in the bottom that will be immersed in the tank. So this platform will be moved up and down, lower into the tank, and can move up and down according to the printing process. Based on the process, it will move up and down. And here we have a laser source. Here the ultraviolet laser will be delivered, and that will hit the X-ray scanning mirror. Then that will be reflected on the resin on this platform. And when the process starts, the laser draws the first layer of the print. Right? The resin will be wherever the laser is pointed out. There the resin will get hardens. So those laser will be based on whatever model we made on the by using 3D or whatever code we are inserting, we are feeding to the AI machines. Right? So this process converts the photosensitive liquid. That means that those are the resins into 3D solid plastics. So resins will be converted into 3D solid plastics by in a layer by layer fashion using a low power laser and photopolymerization process. So when we find the laser source, those laser source make the resin harden. So by the way, the ended product will be made by using this stereolithography process. And this laser is directly to the appropriate coordinates, directed to the appropriate coordinates by computer control mirror. So what a mirror, right? That will be controlled. The laser will be controlled by that mirror. So the ended circuit will be connected with the system where we stored G codes. And these are the process for stereolithography. So initially we have to make a 3D model, and this is the process for all the system, all the process. Then we have to convert into the CAD process where we can store the STL format. Then we have to do stereolithography process. And this is the first layer, second layer, third layer. And here, as I said, the laser will be pointed out on the build platform. Because in the bottom, after the platform, we have the small foam layer. So there, their resin will be there. When the layer is pointed out there, automatically the resin at that point will be get hardens. So like that way, the entire process will get over. So initially, next we'll see that when the pointed laser, we have the first layer. And that layer will move on and we'll get like this first layer. Then we have the second layer. Then number of layers we have. So like this way, we can make the product by using this stereolithography process. And this is most precise and 3D printing techniques on the market. This is most available technique. And whatever products made by this SLA process are extremely high quality, finely detailed features like thin walls, sharp corners, etc. And complex geometrical shapes also we can make by using this SLA process. And layer thickness, if we look at as low as 25 micrometers, and minimum feature sizes between 50 and 250 micrometers. And this process provides the tightest damage tolerances, like 0.1 to 7 millimeter. And print surfaces are very smooth by using this process. And build volumes are so high for this process, 50 by 50 by 60 centimeters cube, without sacrificing precision, because that is more important in this process. Without sacrificing, because whatever product we are making by using this SLA process will be so precise and so accurate with high quality. So without compromising that, we are doing all this process. And these are the some cons we have. And this printing will take some time to make the product, to make the final product. And regarding supports, because as already I said, we have to produce some supports to make the product, if it is hollow object or if it is standing object. So that will be some cons, because such parts may potentially collapse during the printing or curing process. So we have to take much care while we providing some supports while doing the process. And resins are comparatively fragile and therefore not suitable for functional prototype or mechanical testing. Because of this fragile property, we cannot use it for mechanical testing because it's automatically do breaking, right? And this offers a limited material and color choices, usually offering black, white, gray, and clear material. And this printing costs are comparatively high when compared with other printing processes. So these are the few cons we have. And I'll show a small video about this stereolithography. Only 1 minute video so that easily you can understand the process. Because ultimately aim is to understand whatever we are teaching here, right? One second. I think the screen is visible to you. And here, whatever I said, that will be displayed here. Yes, I have muted the sound, so you will not get any sound. Because here the laser is pointed out. Those are the laser points to make the layer by layer process. That is the mirror that will be controlled by the system. Okay, wherever the laser is pointed out, there we have a layer by layer. So those layer directions will be based on what are the commands we are given and what are the codes we have stored in the system. Then the post processing. Right? Like this way, we can do stereolithography process.
Sir, voice not audible, sir.
Mute that. Okay, now I think it's audible, right? Now audible on you, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. Mute it.
Yes, sir.
And initially we have to do heating process of this workflow bin and this build platform, which is lower than the material melting temperature of the polymer, and the recoating blades, and this will move in this direction after each and every layer of the process. After the powder is laid on here on this platform, this will move each and every layer. After each and every layer laid on the platform, this will move this direction and backwards. Recoating blades cuts a thin layer of powder over the build platform, right? Then the laser. Here we are using CO2 laser, scans the counter of the next layer. If one layer gets over, then scans the next layer and selectively cinder. That means fuses together the particle of the polymer powder, whatever polymer we are using here, and that will be cindered. And the entire cross section of the component is scanned, so the part is finally the part will be built. And for each and every layer, after each and every layer, this recoater will be moved this direction and back. Then we'll move this, so that automatically once the rotation is over, this will lower down the bottom. This is the direction, right? This will move down one layer like this, and then the powder will be coated here. Powder will be laid down here. Then it will move. Then the entire system, this printed part, platform will lower one step, and like this way we have to do all the process. And when the layers completed, when particular layer is completed, the build platform moves downwards, right? And the blade recoats the surface. And this process will repeat until the whole part is made or whole part is completed. And after printing, when the printing process gets over, the parts are fully encapsulated in the uncindered powder. Because we have to do that process also, because that is the post processing. And the powder bin has to cool down before the parts can be packed. This can take a few hours to complete the process. Maybe some process, maybe up to 10 hours or 12 hours, that will take to curing process. And then after the process gets over, we have to clean by using some high pressure air or some blasting media, and ready for the further post process. And whatever cinder powder remaining, right? So all the cinder powder we are not using. So remaining cinder powder we can reuse. That is the advantage of this selective laser sintering process. So whatever powder we have not used that particular process, we can reuse the powder for the next process. And this basic material consists of powder with the particle size is 11 micrometer to 50 micrometers. And this is the process I said. So CO2 laser beam scans the surface and selectively binds together the powder particles of the corresponding cross section of the product. And during this laser exposure, the powder temperature rises above the glass transition point, after which the adjacent particles join together. Right? Then we have to do a small concentrations. Right? These are the concentrations of this laser sintering process. So minimum wall thickness we can make that by 0.6 millimeter, and this is based on the powder metallurgy concepts. So the surface smoothness won't be much because earlier process we made using direct laser sintering or by even first if you FDM process also we have to do post processing work, and especially this work we are using powder for metallurgy concept powders we have to use. So the post processing will be a bit heavier than a remaining process. So we have to do some finishing process. We want to have a completely smooth surface without further finishing. So parts are porous, that is possible, and those pores can be sealed by post build because of this powders, right? So because of this powder process, because of we are using powders, the few places that may be in the micron level. So those parts, those pores, we have to do sealing process in the post processing stages. The tolerance depending on the geometry from plus or minus 0.2 millimeter up to 100 millimeter. And advantage of this is more complex than SLA process and most other technology. And this method has extended to provide direct fabrication of metals and ceramics. So here we can make use of metals, ceramic objects and tools. And because earlier process we cannot use metals, so only few methods we can use metal 3D printing, right? So as fast, economical and durable process. Up here and play selective laser sintering process. Yeah, this is the sintering process, selective laser sintering process. So these things are available, even though if you see this kind of video along with the lecture, easily you can understand. The aim of the session is like that, I think. See that the horizontal bed moving each and every after yeah, if one layer gets over, that will automatically that bottom this that platform will goes down and this horizontal bed will move. See the process. It automatically goes down, then this horizontal bed will move.
Sir, sorry to interrupt, but nothing is visible on the screen.
Oh, sorry. No, it's visible. I think. One second. Last one was visible, right? Previous video was visible, right?
Yes, sir. Previous was visible, but now it is not.
Okay. Now it's visible.
Sir, not yet, sir.
I think now it is visible.
Yes, sir. Now
Okay,
visible.
okay. Yeah. No,
Thank you,
maybe that Google made it automatically. That was some problem. Yeah, I detected that. So this is the actual SLS process. The sound I have muted. So just look at the process, how they're making. So if once the layer is gets a particular layer through that laser sending process, and automatically that the horizontal feeder will move. And at the same time, the platform will lower down. So this is the repeated process till the product is made. So this is the product. And those standard products we can use for the remaining purpose. Remaining, that is for the next product we can use. That is the process. And we have DLP 3D printing process, which is digital light processing. And here we have same similar to SLA process. The difference is here we have a light bulb, right? And here we have the bottom. We have the process of here we have light source and lens and DMD. And this DMD is nothing but digital micromirror devices. This micromirror device made up of thousands of micromirrors. That's used for navigating the light, which is received from the light source. Or light source will be maybe in the form of light, digital light projector that will emit the light source that will be observed by the DMD process, and that will be directed to the lens. And through lens, that will be pointed out on the resin tank. There is nothing but bag where the resin is filled. And the bottom of the resin tank will be transparent. So that the laser light, whatever we are projecting over the surface, at the bottom of the tank, that will be reaches the process. And here we have build platform, and that will be moved up and down direction, right? Once the process gets out, because here also we have same process. So initially this will be in the bottom phase. When these lasers are pointed out, the first layer will be finished. So this will be the first layer. Then this build platform will move up. Then the second layer will be. Then this will move up. Then the third layer. Then this will move up. Like this way. These layers will find out only the resin. Whatever resin available on the resin tank, that will get hardens when the lasers are pointed out on the tank. And this build platform, whatever we have here, simplify the surface printed objects during the printing, and Z axis will move up and down portions. And what are objects we are making by using this process with the digital light processing? We have less visible layers versus other process. So those layers are less visible, and this DLP have faster build speeds due to single layer being created at one in a single digital images, whereas with a remaining process, right? And here photopolymer resins used for DLP 3D printing process, and those resins are gets hardened when the lasers are pointed out those resins. When the laser pointed out the resins where it's available in the tank that's wet, that will get hardened. So those layers will be based on whatever G code we stored in the machine. And this is commonly used to generate a highly detailed artwork. So artworks we can use by using this DLP process on non-functional prototypes, and we can make molds in the investment casting applications. So for these applications, we can use this DLP 3D printing process. And this DLP 3D printing process one second. And this is the DLP 3D printing process. And here we have full of resins. That is photopolymer resins. So those resins are in the liquid form. When the lasers are pointed out, that will automatically condense. See, the lasers are pointed out. The projector lens. Here the product is made by pointing of the laser on the resins. So those laser pointers based on the codes we stored in the AM machines, right? So whatever model we made by using 3D softwares, those models will be entirely produced by using this kind of problem, this kind of process. And then we have photopolymer phase change inkjets. This same like inkjet printer. Here we have a polyjet technology. It's a photopolymer. Again, photopolymer based technology. So earlier we have used photopolymer resins. We use a layer-wise deposit to create objects and support metals using an inkjet head. So how how inkjet printers are used, right? Color printers. That will play only one layer based on the colors whatever we given to the input to the printer. So this used to produce very accurate and smooth components and prototypes. And this builds parts by jetting thousands of photopolymer droplets. And if you know this, here we have a material container where the material is loaded, and we have these are different heads, inkjet print heads. So because of this multiple heads, we can use number of colors, because a few printing processes the colors are limited, right? So here we have because of this multiple printing heads, we have different materials can be printed at once. And here we have UV curing light, and this is the part we are going to make, and this is the build platform, this is the elevator, and here through this printer head, number of droplets of that photopolymer will be dropping on the build platform, right, to make the model. The printing process starts with the carriage moving across axis. Here we have these two axes, X or Y, and across X axis this. And as it moves, the print heads selectively jet the resin from the print head in the form of droplets, not in the continuous mode, in the form of droplets that will jet the resin in the print platform, right? So immediately after they jetted on the platform, the UV light, whatever the UV light we are producing from, we are focusing from this source, UV light, curing light, that will cure them into an ever growing solid, right? So initially the droplets will be jetted from the inkjet heads. Then after this will be dropped on the platform, immediately this UV light will be focused on that portion, then immediately that will be cured. So one layer gets over. Suddenly it will repeat the process till the final product is made. Once a single layer is made, automatically what happens, the build platform. So this platform will move downward direction. Whatever the layer height. If it is 0.1 millimeter the layer height, so that platform will move downwards direction 0.1 millimeter, and the process continues until the part is finished. Then this is the process repeating till the part is. This is the photopolymer phase change inkjets. So here instead of lasers, we are dropping as a droplets. We are jetting on the build platform. So using this process, we are making the 3D model, right? Then we have direct metal laser sintering process, and this directly create metal part. So this is one process to make metal 3D printing, because we cannot use, as I said, we cannot use all the processes to make, because number of processes we are there using for plastic. So this is one method we can use to make metal 3D printing. This work material is finely powdered metal, size 20 to 40 micrometer, and the particle size and shape limit the detailed restoration of the final part. And this printable layer highest or approximately the maximum size of the metal powder used, right? And this is the schematic of this DMLS. This does not melt the metal powders, so we require only less energy for this, because this is also the form of powder, and sintering heats the particle enough so that their surface welds together. And initially we have this build platform, the same concept, right? So here we have build position, here we have build platform, and the laser source. So here we are pouring some powders, and the source, this will be directed over the surface. And this is the X-ray scanning mirror, and laser beam will be produced from this. And this is the metal powder supply. So from here the powder will be supplied. So initially, a thin layer of this metal powder, either in the form of aluminum or a titanium powder, is spread over by this roller or recoat raw, right? So will be placed by this recoat raw. Then immediately after, then the print chamber of the 3D printer then heated up. The powder melts when reaches the melting point. So this the entire process will be heated up, right? When we pour the powder, at the same time the laser will be pointed there. So automatically that place will be heated up. Then automatically we made the first layer of the process, right? So centering heats the particle enough so that their surfaces will together, because it does not have a melt to the metal powder. This works with the metal alloy, that is the metal mixers. When the laser touches, right, as I said, after pouring the powder, when the laser touches the areas of the layer where we made the platform, right, build platform. So there we are focusing on the lasers. When it touches the part of the design, there is the first layer of the design. Then at the same time we have, when it focuses on that particular portion, the raising the temperature of those areas just above the melting point. So automatically what happens is the part will be sintered. That is first layer of our part, right? Initially we have to pour the powder, then we have to move the recoat raw. By using recoat raw, we have to pour the powder, then we have to point it out the laser. Due to this, automatically the temperature of the entire system, that particular portion will be increased. So due to this, the part is sintered. That means one layer of our part will be gets over. So we have to repeat the same process till the product is made. Then we have a plaster-based 3D printing process. And this method uses a bed of small plaster particles. And here we have liquid adhesive supply and microchannel inkjets, and here we have nozzles to drop liquid adhesive on the platform. The concept is same like the previous process. So when we made a single layer, automatically the platform, right, automatically that will lower down. The build table will be lower down. So and especially this plaster-based 3D printing process requires two different substances. One is the powder substance, that is either in the form of plaster or starch or gypsum, anything you can use. And the other is inkjet, right? And this plaster is mixture of a dry powder with water to make some paste that will be available in the liquid adhesive supply. And we have to supply some heat or air to the paste, evaporating a certain amount of water, which causes the paste to harden. And we have to apply either high pressure or air, whatever it is we have to apply. Then only the paste will be hardens. And again, the left side in the feed table, the powder will be delivered. Those powder will be taken care by the powder spreading roller. That roller will spread the powder. Then automatically the laser will be pointed out. Right, the inkjet will be produced another powder. So automatically that will get cured. This we can use for artistic projects, same as previous process. And the platform descends one layer, right? Glues particles instead of melting. There's another process. And because of time is running out, I'm not showing the video, whereas I'm sending along with the PPT so that you understand. So in the additive process phase, the ink is replaced with the thermoplastic and wax materials. Because here we have build metal and support materials. Build metal will be thermoplastic, and support metal will be wax, and this will be together, that is spreading over the build platform. So here we have a particle collector and plain milling heads. And what happens once the powders are placed over the platform? This plain milling head will move and will level it, right? Then automatically, when the plain milling head moves over this, the first layer will get over. This the platform will lower it down that particular thickness of first layer. So like this way, we can do this process. When printed, liquid drops of these metals are instantly cool and solidifies the form of layer of the part, right? So here particle collector and plain, due to this, right? Due to this, automatically that will be cools and solidifies. The solidification process are there, it automatically first layer will get over. And this characteristics of inkjet systems is ability to produce extremely fine resolution and surface finishes, essentially equivalent to CNC machines. This technique is very slow and low for large objects. The application oriented, you can say some articles, particularly jewelry, we can make by using this. And these are the file formats we have, and these are the above process we have. Whatever we discussed is making the 3D model product by using plastics or metals. A number of process we are using laser to make the product, because the material, whatever material we are using to make the product are in the form of liquid. A few process what we discussed. So those places, when we point out with the laser, right, automatically the liquid, the resin, that will get hardens. And a few process we have powders. So those powders will be gets hardened by the light source. And a few places, the whatever powders we are applying, that will be gets hardened by the air. And few things we are making layer by layer, right? So these are the different processes we have to make a 3D product or 3D printing process. So out of this, any process you can make based on your product or your applications. What application you are going to use, and whether it is subjected to some temperature or normal applications, or whatever. What we made is flask. Flask is used to keep the temperature for some amount of time, right? For that case, we use polylactic acid and we use FDM process. So like that way, you have to think of what kind of application you are going to make product. And you can use any kind of product, because a few products will give accurate results and the layers are much visible, right? And yeah, that's it. You can make any process. So based on your application. With that, I'm closing those process. And these are the few file formats we have. So file formats are especially to store the digital model. What a digital model we made by using 3D software, those models will be stored in the form of file formats. So those file formats will be converted into G-codes, right? So this file formats decides what information goes to the 3D printer. So this only the design factor. So whatever this is the, you can say, the bridge between the AM machines and the system model, right? So this only decides what information goes to the 3D printer. So based on this only, the 3D printer will make the product. So all this whatever we discussed, all these are only the process. So those processes we have to give before the process. These are the file formats. And to print any 3D objects, it needs a digital blueprint, right, of the object. These file formats are just the file that stores all the relevant data about the object, such as you can take either geometry or color or texture or materials. So those details will be stored in the form of in the file format. And there are several file formats that can hold such data. Here are examples are given as STL, OBJ, AMF, and 3MF. These are the few formats we are going to discuss today. Apart from this, we have a number of formats out there, but these are the widely used formats to make the 3D printing. And these formats are a subset of 3D file formats that are used for 3D printing. And this is the first file format, STL, the stereolithography file format. And this is the openly documented format. And this for describing the surface of an object as a triangular mesh. So here that we use only triangular mesh, that is straight triangular mesh. There is no curved mesh, only straight triangular mesh. That is a representation of a three-dimensional subject in a triangular physics. Because after making the model, we have to do mesh, right? So for that, this particular format will do only triangular mesh of the under any kind of object. This will do only triangular mesh, that is straight line mesh. So here also we'll face a few problems because already you know if there is a curved object, curved structure, a straight line meshes are not so accurate, right? And this STL file is only describing the geometry of the model, and there is no specification about the texture or color or the material. Whereas the ended file format are generally used to store all these four: texture, color, material, and the geometry, right? Especially this model will store only the geometry, and there is no specification about texture, color, or material. That is the one drawback of this STL file format. It has all the information about the surface of the object, exactly what the 3D printer will print. And here we have two types of coding. One is ASCII coding, another one is binary coding. So like this way, the STL file will store the format, will store the data. And here the format will be like this. Solid name we have to give whatever solid we are going to make. That name will be in the name of model. Right? And it continues with all the numbers of triangles. Because here that will store in the form of triangles only. And this ASCII format. ASCII encoding will store only in the form of triangles. For each and every triangle we have to give like this. So basic normal, NI, NJ, NP, and all the vertex 1, 2, and 3. So 3 points, 3 nodes we have in the triangle. So we have to give all the coordinates of vertex. So vertex 1, that is point 1, node number 1. What are x, y, z coordinates? Node number 2, what are x, y, z coordinates? Node number 3, what are x, y, z coordinates? So the entire object will store in the form of this ASCII coding. N loop, then n phase it. Each n or b is a floating number. Ends with n solid name. So we have to start with the solid name, ends with solid name. This is the ASCII encoding steps. And here another file format is binary coding in .stl format. And this starts with 80 character header. And each triangle is then represented by 12 32-bit floating point numbers. So first one is 80 unit 8, 80 character header, then unit 32 number of triangles. And for each triangle, we have to give a normal vector, vertex 1, 2, 3. Right? Then finally, unit 16, attribute byte counter. Then we have to end the process. So here I given the ASCII coding. If you look at first part, I given a solid name is solid cube and face it normal 0, 0, minus 1. Then these are the vertex. So vertex 1, 2, 3. Vertex is 0, and vertex 2 is 1, 1. And vertex 3 is 1 and n loop. We are closing that particular triangle, n phase it. This is the first step. Then second step, third step. Fine. So we have to do all the steps, all the points we have to plot here, right? Then finally we have to give n solid the same name. Whatever solid name we have used in the first step, the same name we have used in the final step. This ASCII coding example. So this is the cube we made by using this codes. If you type this codes, automatically this cube will be made by using this. Like this way we have to give, because we are not much experience on this, but automatically this code, this STL format will store the model in this form, right? That's what I given this. And next one is OBJ, that's object file format. One second. This OBJ file format is a simple data format that represents the 3D geometry alone. That means the position of each vertex and the UV position of each texture coordinate vertex, vertex normal, and the faces that make each polygon. And here, apart from geometry, texture also, right? And supports both human readable large file sizes and both encodings also. Here also we have both encoding. But apart from geometry, we have text also here. Whereas previous case, we have only geometry. Whatever model we made, so same thing will be printed on the by using 3D printing process. And this OBJ files can encode a 3D model geometry along this remaining information, textures, color, material, right? And this 3D printing process file format also lets you store color, text information. All the information you can store in here in the format of metal template library, that is MTL format. It is file extension MTL. It is the different file formats. What are things we have we can store in the file format, right? The earlier thing is only geometry, and here we can save all the colors, all the geometries. And especially if you look at color, like ambient color, diffuse color, specular color, transparency, those details are there in the material template file. And this is also supports the texture maps, which is more convenient to method of specifying colors, because texture is used to specify the color difference, right? So each and every color, that by using texturing means we can easily identify what actually coming to say. And in texture mapping, every point in the 3D model surface is mapped to a two-dimensional images. And these are the OBJ files we have. It will be available free on Google. So it will be available. Turbo Squada, 3D, Sigitator, Achua, Clara. So these are the few OBJ files. Yeah. You can download any OBJ files and you can make model, right? The website itself, you can make the model. Any browser you can take and you can make the model. And this is the wavefront of there is object file. This shows the texture, right? So this only this one we can make by using STL, and these textures and different colors. This we can make by this OBJ format. There's a difference between previous one and this one. And this is the another format, the additive manufacturing file format. This is AMF. This is introduced by ASTM. You know about ASTM, right? So ASTM is the globally accepted coding institution. So those codes only we are at present we are using for all the areas, including medicine. All the places are most using this ASTM standards. Only introducing this manufacturing because already we have a few problems in this .stl and previous .obj format, right? So those problems they have come across and they've little bit they've rectified, and especially they are mainly to alternate the de facto industry standard STL file format, because there they have used only geometry. So here they have used another details also, like material, texture, constellation, and metadata. And especially this is optional. Element defines the image of texture, color assignment, what color we have to that it designs. And metadata is the element describes additional information about the objects. So whatever additional information, though that also this will give solution. This AMF file format. And this file format is easy to read, write, and process. And there we have only straight triangles, and here we have some curved triangles in addition to planar triangles, because this all makes some difference, right? So earlier we made .stl format, we made only the geometry with the straight line meshes, triangle meshes, and here they are giving provision to make materials, texture, constellation, metadata. That means it will provide more amount of information about the objects along with the curved triangles, because if you use curved triangle meshes, the accuracy will be more, because the few problems you can rectify by using this kind of process. And this is the curved triangle, and these are the AMF 3D files you can. This will be linked with this software, because whatever file format we are going to use, that will be supported by the AI machines as well as the AI machines we are going to send only G codes, whereas all the file formats should support by the software, whatever we made model, right? So these are the few 3D file uses the following softwares, this AMF. And finally we have the 3MF. This is made by Microsoft. You know about Microsoft, right? So the problem with the previous one, AMF and 3MF. AMF made by ASTM standards, whereas they are well versed about all the standards, and they have not discussed with major industries. They made their own format and they have delivered. So that is one drawback of AMF, because AMF they're not much used by softwares, because whatever 3D softwares we have, they are not supporting much. Whereas this 3MF file is developed by Microsoft, and this is the standard file format developed by published by 3MF Consortium, and this is XML based data format designed especially for additive manufacturing. And because what they did is they discussed with a number of industry people. That is the main thing, right? Apart from making the codes or whatever things, they have to discuss with the industry people. Then only they'll accept, or whatever problems they're facing, you can modify it. And they have included all those corrections. And they've included this information, materials, colors, and another information. Whatever information they require from the industry people, right? They have included almost all, and they're dealing with almost all the softwares. This 3MF printing format is almost worldwide using format at present, because they are dealing with all the software people like CATIA, ProE, or whatever, SolidWorks. All are dealing with this 3MF format. So that's why it is almost user friendly compared with the remaining three formats, .opg or .stl or .amf. Compared with those three formats, this will be almost user friendly, because we are letting with softwares, right, to make the 3D printing. So always higher interoperability between 3D modeling softwares and the other applications, platform services. That is the main advantage of this 3MF format. And this gives this 3MF gives completeness. All the necessary model, material, property information is contained in a single archive. That is the main advantage of this 3MF. And human readability. Common structures such as OBC, zip file, XML are used to ease development. And simplicity. It's very short and clear, making development of easy and validation fast. And extensibility. Because of this XML, we can extend the number of files, and the ambiguity. Clear languages and conformance tests ensure a file is always consistent from digital to physical. That is the main, right? Without any problem, without any ambiguity, we have to move the file from the digital data. Those digital data we have to convert into AI machines. So that is the main thing. There, if you face any point, if you face any problem, that will again the problem. So this 3MF will overcome all those problems. That's why I said there's a user friendly. There's access to and implementation of the 3MF specification is, and will always be free of royalties, patents, and licensing. And out of these 4 file formats, this 3MF is almost user friendly. This will almost overcomes all the problems whatever they faced from previous file formats. And this is bridges easily between the digital data, that is a number of softwares, with the AI machine, that is 3D printing machines, right? So with this, I'm closing my presentation, and thank you for your patience listening, right? If you have any doubts, you can put in chat box so that I'll answer for this. Thank you all. Mani sir.
Hello, sir.
Sir.
Session closed, sir.
Yes, sir. Completed. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Ready, mate. Today's session, very wonderful one, very nice. For this session, how to process the 3D printing and also find the format for different areas. So elaborately and deeply, Dr. N. Mani sir to deliver for this session. It is a wonderful session. Dear participants, if you have any questions, clarification you are asked now. The feedback session.
Yeah, one question from you can reuse the powder because as I said, some sintering process you can reuse the powder again because that is the advantage of few process.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other? Any other? Any questions?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Sir, if the support material is only wax, we can use as a support material?
Support material if it is required because the main metal only we are going to use. Support material sometimes we can that will help along with the main material because only for few processes we are using the support material like wax.
Okay. So that main material and support material, build material and support material, both are injected at the same time
Yes,
to the platform.
yes.
Okay.
Any other? Any other question?
Sir, sir, one more doubt, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sir, the file format which a 3D
Yes.
printer can read the data, 3D model data.
Yes.
So you told, sir,
yes.
STL file and VMF and AMF
Yes.
and OBJ file.
Yes.
So which one is better, sir? Or depends upon the application we have to use?
No, and that last 3MF is now only few years back Microsoft introduced those file format. So that will be almost user friendly from both the sides because nowadays all the 3D modeling softwares are using those 3MF file format because which is convenient for them. Yes, earlier days only the start .stl format only they have used. So at present also they are using .stl format. So apart from that, this is a bit user friendly for both the sides because we have to satisfy both the sides, right? So 3D model as well as the final product. So this will act as a smart bridge between both.
Okay. So nowadays mostly STL file is used or VMS, sir?
No, STL file, it will, if you want proper quality with the proper texture or a color image, you cannot use STL. STL will not give more information than the geometry.
Okay, only that will give only geometrical idea.
Only geometry. Whatever you feel to produce, that will make. So apart from that, those material details, it won't be. It's not be available on that. That is the drawback of STL format.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Sir, another
Hello.
thing,
Yes, sir.
the operator who is operating the 3D printer machine.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So what precautions he has to take while doing the 3D printing work?
Sure. Yeah. Because number of powders also we have to take it. That's what I said earlier. Possible issues we have, so we have to save always.
Okay.
But they have to knowledgeable because normal people they cannot go and do 3D printing process, right? They have to be knowledgeable. And
that's a skilled worker, I think we need.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
So my question is, we have seen that number of colleges, they generally purchase the 3D printing machine.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Now the problem arises the maintenance issue because it requires a lot of maintenance issue. Now,
Yes, sir.
number of times the extruder it blocks, the filament breaks, and so many issues are there. So I would like that some points on these maintenance because it is a very costly machine and
Yes,
it
sir.
will work very nicely if the proper maintenance is there. So some
Yes, sir.
guidelines must be given in the program also because it will be very helpful for us. We are facing the same thing. Every time we have to call the
Yes, sir.
people. So,
Even my college, we have purchased 3D machines because of this COVID-19. Almost some 4-5 months it's lockdown. and now it is giving some a few problems because we have to do regular process. That is the one thing, and we have to do regular maintenance. Because if you are not using even for single month, it's again a problem. Because we face and it's under repair only at present. What a machine showed we made and under repair only now at present. Because of poor maintenance, we have to do regular process. If you are not using for at least for single month, it again shows the problem. If used properly, that regular maintenance only that will be bearable. Because if you are not using properly regularly, again it will be a problem. That amount whatever we are going to spend for that, it's unbearable because of huge amount we spend for that 3D printing machines. The only thing is periodical maintenance we require for that. There is no other periodical maintenance. If you follow, then it won't be a problem. It's what we do for CNC machines. Because CNC machines also we face a few problems because of this COVID-19. Only suggestion is that one periodical maintenance.
Okay.
Yes,
So means we have to rely on the AMC peoples only.
yes, sir.
Okay.
No other course, sir, at present. Because this is because the remaining periods we used to work regularly, we did not face that much problem. Because now due to this lockdown period, we face almost little big problem because we have to because that's why we are spending a huge amount for AMC each and every year.
Okay, sir. One more problem, sir.
Yes,
The
sir.
problem of the air pockets in
Yes, sir.
the this material. When
Yes,
we
sir.
fuse it, some air bubbles or pockets it generates, and the wire, because if it is stored outside, so it captures the moisture also. So
Yes, sir.
what precautions we should take while storing these materials, the 3D printing materials, raw materials?
Okay. And initially we have to, because things if you look at on that wire kind of materials, you will not get that much. You will not get much problem. Whereas a few problems will be there when we use powder kind of material, right? So this powder kind of material we have to maintain some proper temperature, that proper environmental conditions. So wherever we are keeping that machine, that should be properly air conditioned. And few places we have to maintain some temperature range. Otherwise, it will be again problem. So we have to do periodical. That's what I said. Periodical maintenance. If you do follow, we will not get any problem. Because that also one issue we face. Because normally we used to keep in air conditioning room that 3D printing machine. Because of this, we have stopped those air conditioning machine. And that also one problem they said, because we call the AMC people, that also one problem as they said. Because if you do proper things, those material, whatever we are putting, we are releasing from the nozzles, there also you will not get any problem, I think. Only thing is periodical maintenance required to overcome all these issues.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So, thank you all. Mani sir?
Sir,
Yes, sir.
if you have any other question,
You can let them put in chat box, I'll answer.
okay, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Very nice session and wonderful one for the 13th session delivered about the file format and other things. Very nice session, sir. Once again, I thank for all for this session. So now is go to photo session. So all the participants unmute the voice, sir. Unmute the video.
So if you have any doubt, you can post in mail and post at my mail ID. If you want any clarification, post in mail so that I'll clear your doubts. Thank you all for wonderful listening. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So can I leave? Because I have another SPTP session. It's going on from my college.
Hello, participant. Next section starts shortly by 12 o'clock. Before that, checking everything.